Hello, everybody. The Mellow Man here, and I've got a special guest today. I've got someone I've tracked down from the UK. I've got Martin Kenny with me tonight. Martin Kenny has been married for 9 years. He's got a couple of kids, and he's involved in helping people that are rehabilitating from drugs and are homeless. That's what he does. And he is a self-proclaimed synchronist. So, that's something that I've never really heard before. And I'm really interested. And I don't know Martin really, really well. I was introduced to him from a friend, Lee, from the page Diseased to Ease and Beyond. And he said that, I've got to meet and speak with this guy, Martin Kenny, because he's really big on spirituality, and Lee knows I'm big on spirituality, and he's really big on ancient wisdom. And so I'm really excited to have an opportunity to have some dialogue with him. And I hope that, Martin, you'll open up by explaining to me, what is a synchronist, sir?
Hi, John. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be here and sharing this time with you. I'm looking forward to this chat. Syncretism is basically an ancient science, and it's the science of amalgamizing or collecting large bits of data that is not seemingly related, and then studying it separately, and then finding the common links to all that data to find one common link. That makes sense. So in other words, we're in this paradigm where we are taught that the truth belongs to one race or one religion or one book or one culture. If you want the truth, read my book. If you want the truth, follow my God, follow my religion, listen to me. When the actual truth is, the truth does not belong to any one religion or culture or race. It's encoded everywhere within the fabric of our collective reality. So, for instance, I study the Quran, I study the Bible, I study the Vedic text, I study the Mahabharatas, I study the Avestas. I read all those texts and then say, right, what are all these texts saying that is similar? And if they're all saying similar things, that must be the truth.
I agree, sir. That is wonderful. You've got to see where it comes together collectively, right? I always like to say God reached out to create our world with two hands, and he dropped some of his information in the east and some of his information in the west. And if you want to know collectively what he's created here and what his message is, you've got to listen to some of the information that was left in the East and some of the information that's over here in the Western culture. You've got to listen to some of the words that Jesus said, and you've got to listen to some of the words that the Buddha said. And, you brought up Sanskrit, and you brought up, you've got to look at that original language, and you've got to see, where does it all come together?
Yep.
And what have you found? What have you found? Where are you seeing?
Oh my days, where do I even begin? Well, let me begin from my journey, how my journey began.
Excellent.
About 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, I was a regular guy. I worked in hospitality. I had a small publishing business as well. And, I just did the regular things that regular people do. I was trying to make money, trying to make it in the rat race, trying to make it big, leave a big inheritance or legacy to my kids, as we all do, chasing the carrot. I was sort of intrigued by ancient conspiracy theories, I guess, ancient aliens in particular, that whole Anunnaki stuff. So I was intrigued by it, but it was more like a hobby. I didn't look too deep into it. And then one day, the week of my 33rd birthday, which was July 2016, I was on YouTube, just, perusing through videos, trying to buy time. And a video popped up titled Flat Earth. So I did what most people do. I sniggered and laughed and thought, this is ridiculous. What is this? Is this even a thing?
So hang on a second there. 2 years ago, you were not into this.
No, I was not. I was not a vegan. I was not spiritual. I was an atheist. I believed in science wholeheartedly. You know, we're all just matter that came from monkeys, and we're gonna disintegrate into dust when you die. Nothing. Yeah.
And in 2 years, you've completely changed your tune.
Yeah. Well, it happened in a week, John. In a week. So I saw this video and I laughed and thought, this is ridiculous. This is madness. So I thought, well, let me click on it and watch it and just for laugh, just have a laugh. So I clicked on it and I was eating something at the time. And as I'm listening to it, the guy who was presenting, it happens to be Dave Murphy. I don't know if you're aware of it, but anyway.
Dave Murphy, yes.
Yeah. So it was one of his videos, that Macedonian interview, I think it was, on TV. I said, you know, I'm listening to him, and as he's talking, he's making a lot of sense. I'm thinking, this should not make sense. This is ridiculous. The earth is definitely not flat. That's just madness. But the more I'm listening, the more something's vibrating within me and saying, something's not right here. You need to pay attention. So I remember dropping my bowl of food and I just stared at the screen and listened attentively and thought, is this guy serious? Is this for real? And after the interview, after an hour, it left me completely confused. I thought, I've got to do one of two things now. There's no way I can walk away from this. I've either got to prove to this guy that he's absolutely wrong. The earth is 100% not flat. There's no way. Or it is flat and something's very wrong with this reality, if it is. So I literally took time off work. I took like a week off work. I called sick at work. And I spent that whole week researching, trying to debunk this flat earth crazy guy. And Dave Murphy happens to be a vegan as well. And after a week, I couldn't debunk it. You know, it became clear to me. I was like, oh my goodness, everything just connected. And at that point, I made a decision and I said to myself quite clearly, the world is nothing like I think it is. And if it's nothing like I think it is, I need to find out what the hell is going on. What is going on? How is this happening if it's true? And why is it happening? Who's doing it? And of course, that week, you know, I followed on other flat earth stuff, Dave Murphy being a vegan. I got into veganism. I'd never looked at veganism before. In fact, I was a chef.
Amazing.
I was a chef. I hated vegan. Yeah.
Amazing.
I hated vegan.
Amazing.
So I thought, well, okay, you know, I'm considering that the earth is flat, or I now know that the earth is flat. So I need to open my mind to this veganism stuff. This, you know, this is crazy, but I'm gonna tolerate it and listen to it. And again, after a couple of days, I was like, wow, it's a no-brainer. I've got to do this. So that week, I became a flat earther. I became a vegan. I went on a 20-day urine fast as well.
Wow.
All in that month of July. Well, it was August by the time I did that.
2 years ago, August. 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh, yeah, exactly 2 years ago, actually. Exactly 2 years ago. Yeah.
You went from cold turkey to flat earth, veganism, and a 30-day urine fast?
Absolutely. Yeah, in one go. So my awakening, as you call it, was extremely aggressive.
Yes.
And rapid.
Yes. Wow.
And
you just jumped thought. You just jumped thought. You didn't resist. Like, you know, like I tend to, and I think I'm a quick thought jumper, but obviously I process still and say, well, hold on a second, wait a second. And, you know, like, I feel like I've got a ship to steer because I have a client base and I have a responsibility that, you know, if I'm going to be entertaining an idea and exploring an idea before I'm going to be sharing that idea with my community and trying to inspire people to make a change, I want to make damn straight sure that I've applied it and done my research and I know for sure that this is the way to go, or else I'm not going to say it. So you just went in and went full bore, but I guess you didn't have to worry about influencing. Like, I mean, you didn't insist your wife had to make these changes and start, you didn't insist your kids had to make these changes.
Well, well, the way it happened, and the only way I can explain it is, in fact, I know it was meant to happen. For some reason, there is a divine plan to how this happened specifically for me and other people as well during this awakening, this time where this is happening. Because the moment, it's almost like a light switched within me, within my soul. The moment I heard it, it was just like, now it's time, wake up, it's your time now. It's like a bell went off. And I almost didn't have to think about it. It was just automatic. It was just like, oh, right, this is what I've been waiting for.
So it was
all my life.
Awakening. It was a direct awakening for you.
Awakening, yeah, that's the best way to put it. It was an awakening. That is the only way to explain it. I literally woke up. All my life, I've always had
a feeling, an inkling that there was something.
There was something wrong.
At 27, I had an awakening. I had an awakening to spirit, a deep awakening to spirit. But I didn't get the vegan thing because I was so stuck in bodybuilding and I was so stuck on protein. So it took me still 15 years before I got the vegan. I was divided nutritionally.
Wow.
And that was blocking me spiritually because I had made the spiritual awakening, but I was still divided and living a lot of incorrectness, even though I was so deeply awakened spiritually. Yep. So this is fantastic for you to be sharing this like instantaneous switch. Like, wow, that's powerful, man. That is powerful and incredible. Okay, so now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Do you want to continue with your story there?
Yeah, no, I'll just wrap it up. But cut a long story short, I in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have done it that way, but I'm glad I did. But I became very reactive straight away. So I literally called in my job. I quit my job on the spot without a new job. So I called in. I said, I'm not coming in anymore. I can't cook meat. I can't be around that environment anymore. So I quit my job. Yeah, I folded my business because it was just stress. I said, I'm not doing that anymore. I need to change my life completely as of today. I'm not waiting.
Oh my gosh.
So I spoke to my wife and, luckily my wife, she was already quite spiritual already. Not deeply spiritual, but she had quite a bit of spirituality,
But you told your wife you're quitting your job and...
Yeah, I told her I'm a flat earther, I found flat earth, I'm a vegan, I'm quitting my job. And she went, oh, okay. Okay. I didn't see it coming, but I hope you know what you're doing. And I trust that you make the right decision.
Wow.
So yeah, and that was my journey. And from then I just said to the universe, I said, right, I've taken the leap. I've taken the leap of faith. Whatever you are, source, universe, God, I don't yet know the answers, but I know that there's something much bigger than meets the eye. And whatever this big thing is, here I am.
You surrendered. You surrendered.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful, sir. I love that. I love that. Okay, so you know what? You touched on something. We got to talk about it because it's coming to my scope a lot, and I've been kind of tiptoeing around it because I'm already talking about the vegan platform, and I'm talking about the detoxification platform and distilled water, and I'm talking about all these radical things, and most recently, urine therapy, things that people are just like, what the heck is this guy talking about? And I've been avoiding this one, the flat earth. Martin, you telling me you did the research and the earth is flat.
Without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, the Earth is not a spinning ball. That I'm sure of.
Okay, I got a couple. I got it. We gotta go here for a second now. There's a couple of things that I got to say right off the bat. First of all,
Yeah.
how can you say without a shadow of a doubt? Because all I see with the flat Earth is it's a little bit ambiguous. Like, yes, it does seem like truth, but it's leaving a little bit of ambiguity. Like, there's not a certainty, but you're seeming to talk about it. Are you talking about it because you have an inner certainty? Or are you talking an inner standing?
Research as well. And research and science and everything else to back it up. So I'll throw the question back at you, John. Why would you think the Earth is not a spinning ball? Why would you think the Earth is a spinning ball? Sorry. Why would you think it's not?
Okay, well, one, because I was taught that. Coming from a science background. I come from a science background. I do have that real hard science background. So that's there. However, over the last year and a half now that I've been moving in the vegan lifestyle and realizing that absolutely everything, Martin, that I've found that is health related is backwards from the truth.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Everything that people are told will make them healthy will make them sick. Everything that will make them healthy is told that it is bad for them. It is stupid. It is funny. Like, laugh at that. It's ridiculed. Everything that is required to overcome your obstacles in your life. So it makes sense when I use logic that the Earth is flat because I was told I'm on a spinning ball. So understandingly, it makes sense to me after a year and a half now of study, practicing, and unearthing the truth about health and wellness. It only makes sense.
Absolutely.
It only makes sense. It only makes sense.
Absolutely. And that's a fantastic perspective. Another one is to say, from when we're born, we're always told not to trust our senses. Don't trust the God-given senses you're born with, right? Education will tell you what to think. Government will tell you what to think, right? Books, we will tell you what is real and what is not, right? But ultimately, when you think about reality, what is reality? What is the difference between reality and belief? Fact and belief. Belief is based on you accepting something based on someone else's experience or reality or truth. That's belief. So you yourself have not experienced what this person is telling you, but you are accepting to believe it. Fact or truth, your truth, can only be based on your own personal experience of reality.
That's a knowing.
That's a knowing. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I'll then say to you, do you feel like you're spinning right now at 1,000 miles an hour?
No.
Right?
I feel like it's solid as a rock, man. I feel like it's solid as a rock. Like everything about it. When I jump up, I don't feel the Earth going underneath me because I'm in orbit. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
Sense is the word. Sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Not trust your common senses. Don't trust your common senses. Trust our books, our theories, our equations. So when you say to a scientist, I don't feel like I'm spinning, I never feel like I'm upside down, and the idea of people walking upside down right now underneath me does not make sense. My senses cannot compute that. My logic cannot compute that. I know what you're telling me, that it is true because you've got this theory or this equation to explain it, but my personal senses are telling me that is not real. Water does not bend. I've never seen water bending to the outside of a spinning object. Water always seeks to find its level. So all these things, you've almost got to reprogram yourself to trust your senses, common sense. Use common sense. Common sense has been hammered out of us.
Well, if you can quit your job and go on a 30-day urine fast and stop eating meat in 1 week, I for sure, after a year and a half of listening to this, allow my resistance to go away now. You know, you are a testimony, sir. You are a testimony. That is fantastic. Now,
thank you, Job.
I've got to say one last thing about the flat Earth and my resistance thought. And I have this resistance thought, and I have studied the Buddha deeply, and the Buddhist perspective talks about how you know, the world has kind of repleted itself forever and ever. And it goes on in eons, and it kind of reproduces itself. And I think the Buddha talked about a man coming and polishing a stone that was so big, like a stone as big as, I can't remember the size of the stone, but it was just humongous. And if you were to polish it with a swipe, and how long it would take eons for that stone to disappear. That's how long it would take for the earth to be gone. And it happens again and again and again. And I feel like that it kind of makes you envision infinity. And I feel like that infinite idea sort of fits with the space model and the universe being infinite and being never ending. And it kind of fits with the, not that I'm really not a Big Bang theorist. However, I do feel like it fits with that, like, all ever expanding universe, and as well as that universe within us, as in the electron and the atom and the electron spinning around the atom. And we've got a little universe that's kind of within us. And that scientific idea, again, you know, kind of fits with the universe. And that's why I've been resistant to the flat Earth, for the two reasons. One, because I didn't want to be sharing anything else that was more resistant than don't eat meat and drink distilled water. And I didn't see that, and I saw a consistency within my body, so within and so without the emerald tablets. I saw that there was a consistency there with that being within me and the universe kind of being expansive the same way. So can you speak to that resistance in my mind?
Okay. This notion that the earth is flat and it's an enclosed system and there's nothing else, as far as I'm concerned, is absolute nonsense. Right? The moment someone hears flat earth, it's been ingrained in us that there's an edge or there's a limit.
And there's a big ball over top. Like, my senses don't go there, buddy.
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
so all
good.
The ancient cultures,
okay, good. Okay, good. Because the people that showed me flat earth and they showed me this prism like this,
No. If you look at every single ancient culture, the Vedic texts, the Bible, the Quran, all the mythologies from Norse to Kemet to the Dogon, all of them describe the earth as being flat, by the way. Every single ancient culture, all the ancient wise cultures of old, of the past, all say conclusively the earth is flat and there's a heaven above, the firmament. And they also say all the same thing, again, syncretism. They all say the earth is inside an egg, cosmic egg. Now, when you look at this and you put it into context and you dig deeper, our earth is not just flat, it's enclosed within something called an electromagnetic torus field. So our reality is made up of electromagnetism and not gravity. There's no gravitational energy, all electromagnetic. Everything in the universe is electromagnetic.
Well, that's super consistent with the detoxification principles and the high vibration foods and
Yep.
even positive and negative, and you know, the movement of electricity, everything about that makes much more sense logically than the.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you look at the flat Earth model, as far as I'm concerned, and where my research has taken me, the Earth is not just flat and confined and limited. The Earth is flat, but it's also extremely vast. Right? The Vedic scriptures say it's billions of miles across. So where we are right now is a tiny section of an extremely, extremely large plane of Earth. And there are other extraterrestrial lands and extraterrestrial civilizations on the plane of the Earth. Many others. So creation is not limited. The stars, well, actually the wandering stars that we see, Saturn and Jupiter and Mars and Venus, our sun and moon and Mercury, those are actually suns and moons from other places on the plane of the Earth. They're not physical objects you can land on. They are suns and moons of places on the terra firma Earth. So many cultures talk about different beings that once visited us: the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, the Hyperboreans, the Lemurians, the Atlanteans. We hear all these terms being thrown around, and no one has an idea who they are or where they came from. We look at all these megaliths, all the pyramids around the world, most famously the ones in Egypt, and we marvel and say, who on earth built these things? And no one has an idea. Well, it's simple. Our neighbors. Our neighbors built these things.
On the planet with us.
On the plane with us.
On the plane.
On the plane with us, yeah. Now, the word planet, plane net, the best way to describe it is our Earth is flat, but creation is almost like a ripple. If you imagine a drop of water falling into a bucket, it ripples out, doesn't it? You see the ripples rippling out. So the Earth has actually got concentric rings of land that are divided by barriers, what we might call the Antarctic ice wall from our perspective. Is that making sense? So if you imagine, I'll show you. All right. This. Like a drop of water. This at the center, at the North Pole, this would be our North, this is where we are. If you recognize Africa, right? Europe, the Americas, Australia, this is where we are, in this ring. Above us is an electromagnetic torus field. This is what flat earthers confuse, and they call it the dome. But it's actually an electromagnetic torus field that is above us, and it's an oblate spheroid. So science kind of tells us half truth. They tell us the Earth is an oblate spheroid, but the terra firma is not, but we are inside an oblate spheroid, which is the electromagnetic field of energy that is cocooning us. So each of these lands has got an electromagnetic torus field, like a Russian doll, a bigger one, a smaller one, a smaller one, and a smaller one.
So
you can actually see two of these from where we are. At the North Pole, there are lands. The North Pole is not just an empty place with ice. This is the Garden of Eden. And it's covered with an electromagnetic torus field. This would be the Aurora Borealis. The Aurora Borealis at the North Pole is an electromagnetic torus field that is cocooning more land, another civilization at the center of the Earth right now. This is what the Garden of Eden is, where the tree of life, Mount Meru, Mount Zion, Mount Olympus, is at the center of the Earth. Yeah. This is where life begins, or began.
Wow.
Okay? And then beyond this outer ring, where we are, is what we call the South Pole. This is a big wall of ice, if you like. And of course, there's another Van Allen belt, which is what we call the Aurora Australis. If you go to the South Pole, you see this electromagnetic, whatever it is, that's the electromagnetic torus field. And there is more land beyond that, with other civilizations and other beings and other, you know, a whole different world, another dimension, if you like.
But we can't go through it?
Not at the moment, no. But there are times in history, this is what's behind me, cosmic clock, where these Van Allen belts open up and all the different races from all the different lands across the whole plane of the earth can interact with one another. And there's a mixing of DNA and information and knowledge, and then everything closes up again.
And that's why there are some people that have been influenced by, you know, we've got different blood types. I've seen this information on blood types. I've seen there's some people that have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, that's a whole different conversation, but which we can get into another time. But this is the crux of it, basically. And this is inside one huge cosmic egg, electromagnetic torus field. And the heavens are above. As above, so below. So the heavens are a plane. Okay? And our wandering stars are the different suns and moons for all the different realms. So in our realm, we've got our sun, Apollo, and our moon, Artemis. That's our sun and moon. They control the seasons, the cycles, our consciousness, conscious direction, ages, epochs, all sorts of things. They're sort of like the Olympians, the demigods, who guide humanity in this realm. On the outside here, the sun and moon is Mars and Venus. That's their sun and moon.
Wow.
Right? So when we're looking and we see Venus and Mars, we're looking at suns and moons from other extraterrestrial lands. And this outer one, their sun and moon, is Jupiter and Saturn.
Wow.
At the center, it's androgynous. It's the black sun. It's Hermes. This is Mercury. It's only one. It's a sun and the moon combined in one.
Wow.
And that's our universe. And then we've got the stars and the heavens above, which are obviously spiritual places. You can't go there physically.
Wow. I'm blown away, buddy. I'm blown away. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. And
is that resonating, John?
yes. Deeply. That's deeply resonating. And I think a lot of it is also just because of the story that you've already shared as a backstory, is just because you went vegan, you quit your job, you have a wife and kids, and you drank urine for 30 days in 1 week.
Or 20 days. 20 days.
20 days. Okay. Things that took me a year and a half to even like get my mind around, because I've been dragging my feet. I am so ready to shed my skin right now. And wow. Everything that you're saying, you've inspired me beyond belief with this information.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable, because I've been hearing these things, bits and pieces of it, and I've just been holding myself back. I've just been holding myself back. Amazing.
Well, you know, like all the ancient mystics and wise people always say there's a time and place for everything and everyone. You know, and likewise, you know, it's amazing how things work out. Just this last week, I was saying, you know, I've spent the last 2 years literally 24/7. I spend 8 hours a day researching this stuff and putting this stuff together. I've got a little planetarium that I've even built, a whole flat Earth planetarium, a whole model. I've turned this whole room into a research center, if you like. So I've locked myself up and I've neglected myself health-wise.
Mm.
You know, so even though I'm vegan, I'm probably not the best example of a vegan. I'm a little bit overweight. I'm not massively overweight because I think if you're vegan, it's very hard to be extremely overweight. But
Yeah.
I'm carrying a little bit of excess weight. I'm not as healthy as I'm not even halfway near as healthy as I'd like. So it's like the last week I said to myself, that's my next step. This is my next leap now. I need to take the next jump. And something said to me, it's time to go raw vegan, mate. Time to take that jump. Detox, empty your bowels, clean yourself,
Awesome.
go vegan.
Awesome.
Really get in shape, look after your
Nice. Nice.
Lee connects us, and you're the right man for it. So
Amazing.
divine intervention, if you like.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. This is supposed to happen. I'm supposed to talk with you.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Amazing. You know what? I
don't believe in coincidences at all, mate. At all. I stopped believing in coincidences a long time ago. This happens all the time.
Unbelievable. I tell you, I always tell people that, you know, especially when you're getting started with exercise, fitness, nutrition, coming back to your best self, that you'll never be perfect, especially not at the start.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that in order to move forward, you've got to be more perfect than imperfect.
Wow. That's
so
powerful.
If you think there's 7 days in a week, 4 days is my minimum tipping point. 4 days, you must be perfect in order to move forward.
Wow.
So you must have at least make a minimum commitment to 4 days of exercise. And you must make a minimum commitment to 4 days of healthy, raw, vegan nutrition and fasting. That's your minimum commitment that you must maintain 4 days of the week, every single week for the rest of the year. That way you can guarantee and ensure that at the end of this year, you are a little bit closer towards your goal than where you are. And if you go 5 days, if you go 5 days or 6 days, you get there quicker. If you go 7 days, you're going as fast as you can. However, whatever you choose, you have to be able to maintain it. It's got to be a lifestyle. You've got to be able to live with it. If you can't maintain it, you're gonna quit and go right back the other way too far. You swing like a pendulum way back. I can't do it, and just go right back. So you got to. I tell people to start off, 4 or 5 days. 4 days of exercise, and if you can be really committed to your nutrition, say Monday through Friday afternoon. And if you want to relax on your food, say Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday, that would be the most that you could do in terms of being a little bit lackadaisical with your lifestyle. You could have Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday kind of as relax, and you'd have to make a full devoted commitment from Monday until Friday afternoon. That's your minimum commitment.
So the thing is, John, where am I going wrong? Because for the last year, I pretty much run 3 times a week. So I run for an hour.
So you need one more day. So you need one more day.
I'm quite active that way. I'm generally active anyway. I don't eat much. I eat 1 meal a day.
Ah, good. Excellent.
However, that 1 meal is probably not the healthiest vegan meal. So I eat lots of carbs, bread.
Yeah. Cooked foods. See, as long as you're doing cooked and processed foods, you halt the detoxification process. And I assume that if you are eating 1 meal a day, that you're pretty darn hungry when it comes around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're going to eat 2,000, 2,500 calories in that meal.
Yeah.
Safe, right? Yeah. And if it's processed and cooked foods, it's too many calories at one time, and it's slowing down the process of detoxification. I love the one time a day eating schedule, but I never would, like, when I meet a typical customer, they're first of all, they're not vegan yet, and two, they're certainly not fasting yet, typically. So my initial startup information to 4 days and 3 days is for the average SAD diet eating average eater. And this is how I introduce them to a forward schedule where they're eating properly most of the time, 4 days of the week. You are ahead of that already. You're already vegan. You're already fasting 22 or 23 hours a day. So you're way ahead of that. The next thing for you is to go no cooked food.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of the cooked food. You got to go to raw. So if you could go to raw Monday to Friday, and then allow that cooked food Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think that would be a wonderful start.
I'm not gonna lie, John. I'm struggling. This is the hardest shift that I've had to make. Going vegan was easy. Maybe it's because I was in the moment. It was a spiritual moment for me. So the urine fast, easy. 20 days urine fast. That's all I drank urine. Easy.
Wow.
Going vegan, easy. Overnight, easy. But this, going raw vegan, I'm really struggling for some reason. I'm finding it tough.
Going from processed foods to raw food is like you're challenging everything that you desire.
Yeah.
Ever since you were born, you've been appeased whenever you cried with something in your mouth, with some food. When you were a child, your parents bought you candy. You've always been made to feel better by being nourished before you could drink alcohol or coffee or indulge in anything that adults do. You ate food. So emotionally, you're charged to eat food, and everything that feels warm and nurturing that your mother gave you, that your parents gave you, is attached to food. Your mother's breast fed you. Everything is associated with food. And now the idea that, hey, I can't enjoy that any longer. I love that food. It's satisfying for me. I can't have it anymore. There's resistance.
Yeah.
And you have to meet that resistance. You have to meet it. And it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not easy, and it's painful, and it's challenging, and it feels unfair. And you say, poor me, my wife's eating that, my kids are eating that, I want to eat it. So there's resistance. But when you really get to the understanding that your body is made up of cells that are made up of molecules, that are made up of atoms, and there are electrons spinning around those atoms, and those electrons do not eat food.
Wow.
And they have an eternal energy that goes on and on and on. There is a prana, an eternal energy that is within you. You are constructed of it. You are created by it. And what you've been taught, just like you've been taught about the round globe, and just like you've been taught that urine is bad and dirty and wasteful, and just like you've been taught that you need to eat meat, you don't even need to eat.
Breatharianism, yeah. Wow.
This is the ultimate. This is the ultimate. I'm not saying that we're jumping to breatharianism. This is a major long haul to get to this. But what I am saying is raw vegan is the next step. Raw vegan is the next step. First, we got to quit eating animals. We got to quit eating other spiritual beings like ourselves. We got to stop eating flesh. Then we've got to stop eating processed food. We got to stop eating cooked food, because as soon as you cook it, you kill it. And as soon as it's killed, it has no live enzyme in it. Then it's creating work inside of your body.
Yeah.
It's creating additional toxicity within your body, and you've got to eliminate toxicity. Once you free the toxicity, you're completely connected to the power that's within you. So you're going to get more deeply connected to the spirit that you know so much about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's my next jump. That's my next journey.
It's the next step. So we're going to face the processed food. And so maybe you're going to do it maybe you're going to just try for 2 or 3 days. And then relax. I mean, Arnold Ehret, Dr. Ehret, have you read the book, The Mucusless Diet? Are you familiar with the program at all?
No.
This is, I mean, as far as raw vegan lifestyle goes, this is like the real origins of raw vegan. This is the real origins of veganism. Dr. Arnold Ehret, The Mucusless Diet. There's the true vegan, the raw food vegan. And Dr. Ehret started his detoxification program and healing program with any customer that came to him. He healed thousands of people in the early 1900s. 1910, he wrote his book. He went 49 days without food or water, and nobody knows.
Wow.
And he healed all things with fruit and fast. But what he did for every customer that came to him, he started everyone with a 3-day fast. A 3-day fast. And then the sooner that the patient became ill was an indication of how toxic they were. Because as you move into fasting, your body begins the detoxification process. As you go into emptiness, because as you are empty, you free up the healing energy. The body's not sending blood to the stomach for digestion. It's not sending blood to the intestines for digestion. The kidneys aren't now clearing or detoxifying the blood. The liver's not detoxifying. So all of these organs now come to rest. You've got all this energy that becomes free, and this energy is now available for healing. So stopping eating is when the body heals. It's when we access our deepest energy, our root energy, our spirit energy, our electromagnetic energy. So when we get empty and fast, this is when we start to heal. And then what happens when we start to heal is toxic elements are reintroduced into the system. So that causes the sickness. So when we start detoxification, we have to meet with the negative side of the detoxification process, the healing crisis. I don't know if you've heard of that before. The healing crisis, where we may get symptoms associated with runny nose, sore throat, body temperature, low energy, feeling like we want to lay down, headaches, digestive problems, acid stomach. It can manifest in a zillion different ways. However you get sick, you can get sick. And so the longer that you can go through the fast until you meet with, okay, toxic symptoms are starting to happen, that means I have a lot of toxicity because it's now entering my system very quickly. Within a day, I'm already meeting with the crisis, the healing crisis. The faster that I meet the healing crisis, the more toxic my body is. And the longer that I can fast for and stay in emptiness, without having any negative effect, the breatharian can go forever because he's detoxified and purified his body so much. There's no toxic limitation, so he doesn't have toxins being introduced into his system. He can go forever in a fast.
Wow. Wow.
He's in complete connection with the electromagnetic force and energy. He's completely connected with his spirit. He's free. He's electron.
That's the ultimate goal, I guess.
It's the ultimate goal. Like, I'm not saying it's easily attainable, but it's talking about getting all of your resistance in your mind that's attached to food and your joy from enjoying that food. And I need this food and I need this energy and nourishment from food. We don't get our energy and nourishment from food. That's a backwards thought. It's an incorrect thought, just like all the ones that you have already jumped ship on.
It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. This has given me this is what I needed to hear.
All right. All right.
I needed the science behind it and that motivation and yeah, I think I'm ready for this.
That's it. So it's just standing up to it. It's just standing up to it. Yes, you're going to get hungry. You know, some people on this planet don't eat for days.
Yeah, true.
You know, we freak out if we can't eat 3 meals a day. You're awesome that you've already gone to 1 meal a day. That's the greatest thing to do. Let's see if we can go to 1 meal or 2 meals and make it a fruit meal or fruit and fruit juices. You know, if you have maybe 1 fruit meal or 20 minutes on 1 fruit, a meal and then a 20-minute break and then maybe another fruit if you're going to be mixing, or eat 1 huge meal of the same fruit and then pause for 20 or 30 minutes or an hour, and then you could indulge in some juices if you liked. Right?
Cool.
Raw juices would be easiest on your system. If you want it to be more harsh and more detoxed, it's actually dead juices, like pasteurized juices. And you could do like grape juice or cranberry juice or something like that. And, you know, so your eating time window turns into like 2 or 3 hours. And then you're not eating again until the next day. If you could take a little rest after that eating time and then not eating again until the next day. That would be a wonderful detox, but it may be too aggressive. Maybe you have to go to, you know, like a 4-hour window or a 5-hour window if you're moving to raw food. It's not as like satisfying if you're used to eating cooked and processed foods, right? Like if you're filling up on starch and satisfying yourself on bread, it might be a big jump to satisfy yourself on fruit alone or fruit and fruit juice.
Yeah, because I tried that. I have tried a few times to go raw vegan.
That's going to be too big.
When I eat fruit, I actually feel hungrier. And I'm like, I was better off not eating. And then I gorge on on starch. I'm like, now I really need to eat bread.
Right.
Lots of it.
So you have to do this. Okay, we have to say we're going to start with a 3-day commitment or a 2-day commitment. And for that 2-day period, it's only going to be fruit and fruit juice. And yes, you're going to be hungry, but you're going to meet it anyways.
Yeah.
And you know that in a day or 2, you're going to get it. But for the first day or 2, you cannot have it.
Yep. Awesome. I've bought some herbs. There's a company called Kenda. Have you heard of it?
No, but herbs can be helpful.
Yeah, and many people have recommended this Kenda stuff, and it's a bowel restore detox. You know. So
you could be drinking some teas and stuff.
That's what I'm going to be doing.
So you could be drinking some teas.
Yep. And I want to do it properly from the word go.
Okay, so then let's throw in there on top of it that let's meet for some workouts online. And do some exercise. Let's do a couple of workouts. Let's get you started with that as well too. Let's do some online workouts let's start with a 2 or 3 day type of commitment where I'm not going to do it for 2 or 3 days. Whatever you can decide is you're going to be your minimum commitment to it, and apply that, and just I'll be in touch. We'll be in touch, and I'll just baby you through it. Yeah, you're hungry. That's okay. We'll get through it.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so you know what? We've already spent our time. I don't want to get talking too long because I do want to inspire people to take a look at our talk tonight. You have inspired me greatly, and you've inspired me to step forward with my limited thoughts and beliefs, and so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you as well, John. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this next step.
All right, and I'm gonna reach out to you again with some additional information about my 6 weeks to success and how we can work online together and get you in shape, buddy, to your best shape. All right.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Great talking to you, sir.